and that'll get you, just for making that observation, will get you called a right-wing Trump supporter. In fact, it did. Most recently, I was included in a video with you and Tulsi and Russell Brand by Kyle Kulinski. And
Did you really?
So I want to show you, first of all, our friend, just to remind you who Kyle Kulinski is. Well, first of all, I'll show you this. Here it is.
High-profile examples of what you'd call the Bernie to Trump pipeline. Tulsi Gabbard is a great example. RFK Jr. is a great example. He endorsed Bernie Sanders in 2016. I don't know if he did in 2020 in the primary, but he did in 2016. He, of course, endorsed Trump this time around. Then, of course, you have some high-profile media figures who have effectively gone from Bernie Sanders back in the day to Donald Trump now. People that come to mind, Jimmy Dore, Matt Taibbi.
So let me just remind you of who Kyle Kulinski is. Kyle Kulinski is a guy who sided with Big Pharma during COVID. Kyle Kulinski is a guy who sided with the military-industrial complex during the Ukraine war. Kyle Kulinski is a guy who's turned his back on every principle he ever had when he was a Bernie supporter. He's gone from being a Bernie supporter to a supporter of the military-industrial complex, Big Pharma, and corruption inside the Democratic Party. He's supporting Kamala Harris, who's right now funding and committed to funding the slaughter of the Palestinian people. So there's no red line for him. He's become the exact thing. And just to prove that he's become the thing that he pretends he used to hate, I'll play this guy. Turncoat Don put this together, and this is always fun to watch. Let's watch.
Former Soviet Union and other authoritarian, dictatorial regimes.
We're really talking about other people being dictatorial. And Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis, as bad as Biden is, you guys are significantly worse, and it's not even close. The Democrats are just way better. They're just way better. They're a trillion times better than Republicans.
First of all, I'm very impressed with Crystal here, because she's a successful working mom and still finds time to homeschool Kyle, which is nice. But here we go.
Dye his hair, I guess.
Let's watch this. Now, this is going to be shocking to some people, maybe if someone who watches the show, but it's not shocking to me.
All right, so there's a lot I have to say in response to this. These kinds of criticisms from this guy, I honestly believe that these people usually overstate how bad Trump is, and they understate how bad Biden is. Well, you're more ideologically in agreement with Biden than you are in agreement with Trump. Well, actually, when it comes to the First Step Act, I agree with Trump on that. When it comes to pardoning Alice Johnson, I agree with Trump on that. When it comes to TPP, Trump's against it, Biden's for it. I agree with Trump on that. I agree more with Trump on North Korea than I agree with Biden. I would need to be convinced that Biden would fight for at least one or two of my top 5 issues. Medicare for all, free college, living wage, ending the wars, and UBI. The people who say Trump is a fascist and they think he's like, basically, we can't survive another 4 years of America with him. Yes. The country will survive 4 years with Trump. The country will survive 4 years with Joe Biden. Again, I think they understate how bad Biden is. Why? On so many core issues, he's against us. Me, at least. I can't speak for this guy. Joe Biden pushed for NAFTA. He repeatedly pushed for TPP. He's a supporter of the Iraq War. On all the pivotal issues of his time, he was wrong. So stop overstating how bad Trump is. The country's still going to exist in 4 years. And understating how bad Biden is. Because it's annoying. I just don't agree with the people who are like, he's a fascist, he's a Nazi, the country's not going to exist in 4 years. You're hyperbolic and you're ridiculous.
You got knocked the fuck out, man!
So,
Is this guy called us?
That guy.
Can we swear in the show?
Yes.
Fuck him. What the fuck? That's so infuriating. God.
It's pretty. It's so he used to be exactly where we are, telling the truth objectively about the objective truth of the situation and the political realities, and then he dyed his hair blonde, started dating a 40 millionaire, And all of a sudden it flipped because I'm pretty sure he's got a Democratic donor somewhere who got him, because his channel went dead for 2 years after he lied about me. And now it's zipping right along again. And it's only because he's on the corporate algorithm, because nobody likes that show and nobody watched it because everybody knows that about him, that he used to say the exact 180-degree different. And now he says, you and I are right wingers for saying the same thing he used to say. And he was telling the truth. He was right back then.
But he even said it more strongly than I would.
That's right.
You know, I mean, it's amazing. But there are a lot of people like that who've made some kind of calculation. I think that's the worst species of this kind of person, is not the one who does it for social reasons, or because they don't know any better, or because they're just basically herd animals by nature, but because they decided something. They sat down and like did some kind of math and decided to completely turn their faces inside out. That just drives me nuts.
And it's a really lazy form of smear, right? And Kyle Kulinski used to be the opposite of that, and now he's just as big a shit lib, liar, smear merchant as anybody. And there's no nuance into any of his reporting. It's all Democrats good, Trump bad. He's got Trump derangement syndrome. And he's got the balls to call people like you. You went from Bernie to Trump. He went from Bernie to the military-industrial complex to big pharma to pro-censorship to every bad thing there could be possibly in the world to pro-genocide now. He's gladly, with a smile, going to vote for that.
It's around the media world in 80 days. He's visited all those places by balloon, I think. But yeah, no, it's ridiculous. And, you know, to go after Tulsi Gabbard, who's, you know, really one of the most maligned people in American politics. People forget this, but she, when she announced her run for the presidency in 2019, I guess it was, NBC timed to the day that she launched her campaign, this massive hit piece tying her to Russian bots that was sourced to Hamilton 68, you know, the bullshit site that we found in the Twitter files. A complete smear job, and that presaged the whole Russian asset thing. And now she's being placed under surveillance. She's got air marshals following her around on airplanes because she's on this ridiculous TSA quiet skies list. And even that doesn't arouse any kind of sympathy. Even if you don't like her, where's the concern about the issue among people on the left? That used to be something that people would freak people out in the Bush years. You would think somebody like Kyle would be moved about that. I just don't understand it.